No, mä voin kysyä.
You would need to ask in Finnish, but we'll translate it.
That's okay.
Haluaisitko sä kertoa meille, että kuka on Black Madonna? Ja liittyykö hän jotenkin tähän meidän polkuun tai tähän Bodhisattva-kouluun?
The only thing I understood was Black Madonna.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about Black Madonna and who she is, and does she relate to our path somehow, and maybe to this Bodhisattva school we are having here in this
The
place?
what? To the?
This Bodhisattva school, we call this education
okay.
Bodhisattva school, I told you earlier.
Then I must also talk to you about Bodhisattva later. Okay. It's interesting. I have seen the Black Madonna in Switzerland. Do you know that? In Switzerland, in the end of the pilgrim walk that they do every year, there's a beautiful church of the Black Madonna. And apparently she was brought there when there was an epidemic of smallpox or something in those days. Nobody knows where they brought it from. They brought it and put it there. And this is the Black Madonna. And it was very interesting. We went inside and we had arranged with we had a walk here in Switzerland last year, in the hills. The last point was the Black Madonna, Church of Black Madonna. I don't know the name of the place, I forgot. For me, it felt like Kali in peaceful form. Kali is this is peaceful form of Kali, dark, and dark is also the Sanskrit word for dark is Krishna, Krishna Varna, which means dark. Krishna was supposed to be dark, but they didn't want to say it, so they made it blue. Black Madonna is a concept of the mother goddess of nature. Madonna is not only the mother of Jesus. I think the concept of Madonna is the mother of nature, of everything. So when you make it black, it's a new concept, because usually it's fair, white. When you make it black, that means also the mother of darkness, not only light. Mother of all people who commit the worst sins and are in the dark, for them also there is a mother, and that is the Black Madonna. You know what I mean? So Black Madonna can be the mother of the drunkard, or the alcoholic, or the drug addict, or the thief, or the dacoit, or all kinds. Even they have some hope, and that hope is the Black Madonna. It's a symbol of the Black Madonna. If you ask me if there is any link with it, the Bodhisattva, what?
Bodhisattva
School. Bodhisattva school. I can only say that because you also pray and to the mother goddess, who in India is also dark. In the Buddhist literature, Bodhisattva is a Buddhist word. In the Buddhist literature, they are called the green Tara, the mother goddess. Also because they don't want to say black. The green Tara. There is a white Tara and there's the green. I said, why don't you say black? No, it's green Tara, okay. So I think that way there might be some link, certainly. I hope you can understand, no, English? Oh, can you explain what I said? She can understand?
I will remember everything I can say.
Okay. Oh, I didn't. I thought maybe she understands English.
She understands somewhat.
Okay. Can I stretch my legs a little bit?
Okay, so I would like to continue about Black Madonna, but about Pistis Sophia. What is the story behind of that?
deeper meaning of Pistis Sophia?
The Pistis Sophia is a book, is a secret book of the Gnostics. Okay, it deals with the inner aspects of Gnostic Christianity of the early days, and all the things that you learn about external teachings, the Pistis Sophia likes to look at the inner aspects of that. And it is in some way linked to the ancient teachings much before the formation of the organized church. So, normally we know that Jesus was crucified. According to the Pistis Sophia, every human has to be crucified, because it's a symbolic gesture which every human has to crucify his base instincts on the cross. And the greatest crucifixion is the cutting of the ego into two. If this is the ego, you need to cut it this way. Finish. And then when this is done, there is only divinity remaining. That divinity is Sophia, the philosophy and the understanding of reality. So I can only say this much because it's a large text. We need to study it sentence by sentence and go in. I'm not an expert on it, but I knew somebody who knew about it, and with him I studied a little bit. But I think it's one of the important books of early Christianity. It was the textbook followed also by the Nazars. They were called the Nazars, those who could see. That's about all I can say about the Pistis Sophia right now to you. Where did you read this? Where did you hear about it?
Well, you mentioned it in Switzerland.
Oh, I did. Oh, I thought.
There was only one little sentence.
It's today you may be able to get an English translation of Pistis Sophia. It's
Finnish version too.
Finnish?
Yes.
Oh, really? Huh. So you might be able to read it and get more ideas about it. When you read it, keep this in mind, that it's early Christian teachings before the formation of the Roman Church, for instance, and it has a symbolic touch to everything that it says. It's basically to find out the inner essence of one's being. It is to understand that just like Jesus, in a small way, all human beings are a combination of matter and spirit. Igne natura renovat integra. So, the integration of nature with fire. Fire is the spirit and nature is the body. So, how to find out that inner fire? Sorry. I thought you should know what is Bodhisattva.
Just go ahead first. Just go ahead first.
Now this Bodhisattva, you cannot find it in Hindu philosophy, this word. I mean, if you think of Hindu philosophy as separate from Buddhist, suppose, because these different schools, the open-minded Hindu would say that Buddhism is also part of us. Buddhism may not say that about the Hindus, but they would say that. But most people don't. Buddhism. So, the term comes from the Buddhist teachings and also from this particular Buddhist strain, which is called the Mahayana system, which is practiced in Tibet. Mahayana system. Dalai Lama belongs to the Mahayana school. Now, even the Mahayana school in Tibet has many schools. It's not one. There is the first one called the Yellow Hats, the Ningama school of Padmasambhava, who actually brought Buddhism into Tibet. And then there are other schools like Milarepa school, Kagyus, and Kadampas and Gelugpas. Dalai Lama belongs to the last order called the Gelugpa. Now the concept of Bodhisattva is very interesting, really very interesting. Buddhists, the Mahayanists say that there are two types of people as spiritual aspirants. One is the usual type who wants to attain moksha or nirvana, freedom, or merge with the universal, whichever way you want to call it. That is one variety. And they enter into nirvana, the state of nirvana, which is blowing off all the flames out, everything is clear in peace. That is one. And they are called the arahants, the perfected masters. Now there is one variety of spiritual aspirant. Everybody cannot do it. Who feels he has put one leg across the border and he knows this is nirvana. One foot is still in the earth. He knows this is nirvana and the other foot is on earth. And he says, wait a minute, I am not going to put my other foot there, nirvana. Why? Maybe I can take a few people from here, they are suffering so much. People who are still in pain because they don't understand this. I go away there and I am in peace. Not enough. Let me take as many people as I can. And even if I can take one person, I want to be reborn on this earth so that I know when I am reborn I have suffering, everything. If you have a physical body, you have suffering. But I want to come back because I want to take at least one person across the border. So they voluntarily refuse to step into nirvana and say, come on, I am going back. I have seen it, I know I can come here, but I want to take more people with me. These are called the Bodhisattvas. The other who is in perfection is the Arahant. And the Bodhisattva is one who is ready to suffer any number of births if he can help somebody also to go with him to nirvana. This is the Bodhisattva. It's a great concept. And it's that somebody says, well, I know I have found my house, but there are many people houseless, homeless. I won't go there now, let me take a few before I go there. But it's fraught with danger because you have to come back to the earth, so there is all the pain and everything. But it's okay, it doesn't matter, I'm ready to suffer. You know, this kind. Does it remind you of somebody who suffered for humanity? Anybody you can think of who suffered for humanity so that humanity may get salvation?
Maybe Jesus Christ.
So that is a Bodhisattva. From the Mahayana point of view, it's a Bodhisattva. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's very difficult. So, there's some.
Could you say who is Krishna and what he is and what is his relationship to Sri Guru? In your book, Journey Continues, Krishna said that he will send a manifestation of him to you, and this manifestation is Sri Guru Babaji.
Yes. And
Can you say something else? Or
you know, Krishna is a very difficult personality being to pin down. He is a multiple personality. a spiritual schizophrenic. He has, not in the material sense. He is various personalities put in together, and many personalities come out of him. One of the extraordinary manifestations in Indian, even according to Indian system of thought. On one hand, he is like, he takes part in war, in peace, in politics, in everything. And the other side, when he is young, he is dancing in Vrindavan with all the gopis. Gopis are all young ladies. And then you say, hey, this man is a hedonist, he is dancing with ladies, then he is teaching the Gita, saying, control your mind. So, it's so difficult to pinpoint and define this being. So, basically, in the Gita, when you read the Bhagavad Gita, which is his teachings also in a way, you see suddenly that one day Arjuna is sitting before him and he sees that this man is not the man I was talking to just now. It is the whole world is going through him and coming out, and this whole cosmos is revolving. And who is this? He asks, who is this? And there is no answer. So he says, oh, you are the ancient one who is still come in this form. This is the answer to your question. Even Arjuna could not say who. Who is this? But according to the teachings of Krishna also, when you find your inner soul, the essence of your being, the core of your consciousness, you have found Krishna. In that sense of it, not in the sense of the outside terms. So there are two Krishnas here. One is the Krishna that we physically think of with the flute and all that. The other is your inner self, the consciousness, the Christos in us, which is the same root, Krish actually. So, so that I cannot say more than that on this subject. I may know one part of Krishna, I may not know the whole, or maybe if I know the whole, I cannot speak. Some people have said we touched it and then we became speechless. Yeah. Some things are best said in silence. The Upanishad says that words cannot express the truth. Words, because they are man-made. No? Words, they cannot express actually the absolute truth, because no language can tell, no word can describe it. Therefore, whatever we say is still falling short of the truth, because we are using words. In absolute silence, when there is no formation of words, which means no formation of thought, then perhaps something happens, you get to know. The thing is, then when you try to translate it into words, it's still defined, modified a bit. It cannot be the same. You must have heard about this great philosopher, writer in ancient India called Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, not the present Shankaracharya, the first one. Now there are many Shankaracharyas. I'm talking about this Shankara, when he was traveling in the south of India, a family came to meet him. They met him on the road and they saluted him with respects and said, "Please sir, can you come home to my house?" He said, "Look, I'm a wandering sannyasin. I don't want to come to anybody's house." He said, "No, please come." Why? We have a son, a child, who is now 8 years old. And we think he's dumb because he has not uttered a word. Normally they start talking at 3, 2, 3. He's 8 years old and he's not spoken a single word. We fear that he's dumb. Maybe he's not. You are a great yogi, so if you come and put your hand on his head, maybe he will speak. Perhaps. So please come. Okay, said, I'll come. So when Shankara entered the room, there was this boy, 8 years old, sitting in a corner of the room, in one corner like this. So Shankara went to him and said, without any introduction, he sat near him. He said, why don't you speak? For the first time the boy spoke and said, about what? He said, because the truth cannot be spoken, so whatever I speak is untruth, so I prefer to keep quiet. So Shankara said, well, I was looking for you, come, let's go. So he went away from home with Shankara. He became his disciple and he went away. He said, hey, I was looking for this guy. So he found him and he took him away. And he named him Hastamalaka. And when you explain, you'll see how nice the word is. Hasta means hand. What do you say for hand in Finnish? Kasi. Okay, different. So Hasta. Hasta is hand, and Amalka is the gooseberry fruit. Amalka. So Shankara called him Hastamalaka, which means a man who held the entire knowledge of the Vedas, the Vedanta, in the palm of his hand like a gooseberry. Like this much. So he named him Hastamalaka, and later on he wrote some books about Vedanta, so on. So that is the situation. But then you have to speak. Imagine, nobody speaks then. Recently one of my German friends said he went to listen to a talk, he went to some meeting which was advertised as the power of silence. And the man who wrote was also there. My friend is a very funny man, Hans. So he said, he went and sat, not this Hans Kelly's house. So he said, we all went, some friends, and we sat there, and this man came and sat there. The subject was power of silence. So I said, then what happened? Then what happened? Then we looked at him, then he looked at us, then we looked at him. I said, anything else? Then, no, he looked at us, then we looked at him. Then I said, then what happened? Then I wanted to have a beer, so I went out. It was a hot Sunday, so I went out. So we need to say sometimes. Sometimes without speaking also it works. I think this man Hans was more interested in the beer. Ramana Maharshi hardly spoke. Few words here and there. But Swami Vivekananda kept talking all the time. So how many of you have read the Sermon on the Mount?
What was the name of the book?
Not book. No? Sermon on the Mount. From the New Testament. From the Bible. Right? The Sermon on the Mount, it has everything you need. Except the practicals, everything else.
But the problem with the Bible is that we read it and we don't understand it. And at least my experience is that when I read Yogananda's autobiography, I understood
More of the Bible.
more of the Bible than,
That's because of the organization that has been built into it, And the only Bible we have with us is the St. James Version, which was, I think, written 500 years after Christ. And anyway, it's a wonderful book. It has been nicely edited, beautifully edited. The St. James Version that we have today was originally in Greek. And then it has now been translated into English. Now there are many other versions of the Bible which are different. But even though the Bible came several years after Jesus, there were so many parts of the Bible which the authorities did not want to include. So they cleared some, they called it apocryphal, and removed, and they made only this much. But even then, they tried very hard, but they could not take out the core. It is there. Even if they tried, it's very much there. So some of the New Testament, I'm not talking about the old Bible. The Old Testament is even more difficult to understand. The New Testament is simpler actually, because Matthew, Mark, Luke and John are simple. I always prefer to read Mark because there are more things out there. And there, I think in all the versions of the New Testament, there is the Sermon on the Mount. I think so. John, I don't know, but definitely it's there. And it's so simple that Jesus climbed up the hill and stood there and he spoke. There was no paraphernalia. Nobody was blowing trumpets. Nobody was playing drums. He just climbed up there and he spoke. And what did he say? Such simple, direct things. Lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they that cry, mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So direct and simple. I think in the Christian world, if people decide, I don't want to go to church, okay, fine. But I want to read the New Testament and I want to read the Sermon on the Mount, they found it. Very simple. And then from the understanding, you will develop the understanding to meditate. First you look for the treasure inside, so you will close your eyes and say, where is it? Then you look for the light, just look inside. And then you live your life accordingly, not hurting others, not creating trouble, in fact helping those who create trouble for you. I mean, it's a tall order, but you can try. And then I think you will attain the inner. Sometimes I want to write a book called Vedanta and the Teachings of Jesus. I really want to write this. The thing is, Vedantins won't like it. The church will not like it. Nobody will like it.
You can stay for a few more days here and write. We will not disturb.
It's not easy. I have to first go. Okay, here is a here is a statement from the Bible. I have asked many priests belonging to many Christian orders, can you explain this to me? No. There are some things we don't know, we don't want to explain. Okay. So what is this? This is from the Sermon on the Mount. Therefore, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. I am not saying this. It was said by this man who wandered the streets of Jerusalem. Today he would be called a homeless man, because he himself said that the foxes have dens and the snakes have holes, and the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. A typical wandering sadhu. And then he, among the things he said, this is something I have asked many. I went to a Christian school myself, not school, college. I studied in the Loyola College of St. Ignatius of Loyola. And I asked, in fact, the fathers tried to make me a Christian. Because of my understanding of the teachings, they said, you are a perfect, ideal candidate to become a priest. We'll send you to Rome. So I said, no, I am not interested in going. I love Christ, but I don't want to become. So anyway, so this one thing, therefore if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. What does it mean? Is it that you should be blind in one eye? What does it mean? The only explanation you will find is in the inner teachings. If your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. There is an eye here, not outside. For if your eye is single, then you're bathed in the light. If you open your eyes and see with these two eyes, then you are out. When you close this and go into one eye, then you see the truth. Who could have said this? Unless he knew what he's talking about. So, next time if you want to see light, fix your attention. And in Kriya we have a practice where we try to fix your attention here. And also, before that we do this. I always tell them, knock and it shall be opened unto thee. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and it shall be given thee. These are words of wisdom. These are words of a yogi. But people have forgotten.